The new look Knicks are 4-5 to start the season, but don't worry, nobody's overreacting and we're not worried, but the start ain't matching all the hype heading into the season. So let's talk Knicks basketball and the Pacers loss with Jonathan Macri of Knicks Film School. My man, how you doing, man? Nice to see you again.
It's good to see you. I'm happy that you haven't heard any overreactions, because I guess that means they're all coming to me on my post-game shows, because, man, last night was not pretty.
Well, we'll let you get all the traffic, but bring some of that engagement on with this interview. That's why we pulled you in, my man. So let's break down that loss, man. They had a 2-point lead going into the fourth, but then they were outscored 40-27 in the fourth in the loss. Give us your key takeaways.
Yeah, I mean, the key takeaway right now is just the defense is not where it needs to be. I just checked the rankings as of right now before we came on. Cleaning the Glass has the Knicks at 24th in defensive rating. And if you look at their larger defensive profile, they're doing some good things. They're hitting the boards. They're keeping teams off the line. It's just that opponents are making everything against them. So when you see a Pacer team that, albeit is a very good offense, especially when Tyrese Halliburton's going like that, when they hit 9 out of 12 threes over a 9-minute stretch in the fourth quarter, you could chalk some of that up to, like good shooting luck, but these were good looks. And I think right now you're seeing a Knicks defense that is not able to turn its very talented wing defenders into a larger benefit for the defensive ecosystem. And once you get those breakdowns at the top, those breakdowns at the point of attack, often with Mikal Bridges, who's been a little disappointing, then it leads into the middle and you get kickouts and all kinds of bad stuff happens, which is how you got the result that you saw last night.
Well, I think Jalen Brunson will agree with you, because he was quoted saying offense is not really the problem. We kind of knew the defense was going to suffer a bit when they let Isaiah Hartenstein sign with OKC. So now let's talk about how they address it. Do you think Tibbs looks in-house to fix the defense, or you think my man Leon Rose should hop on the phone and start making some calls to bring in some help?
I mean, Jalen Brunson wasn't wrong. They have the second best offense in the league. They're scoring more points than the Boston Celtics, and we saw what that offense looked like on opening night. I think right now the most interesting question for this Knicks team, and you could say it's the most interesting question for this season. You could go beyond this season. You could look at this is the most interesting question for as long as Karl-Anthony Towns is here, is how do they balance what he is able to offer at the 5 on offense, and not only him individually, but the impact that he has on everybody else. Again, second-ranked offense in the league. They shot 55% last night. That wasn't the issue. If he's at the 5 on defense, how much does that restrict you? And there is a cost-benefit analysis there that right now, I mean, you said the record is 4-5. It's not working out in the Knicks' favor. And I think part of that is because for as good as the offense is, it has not come through in the biggest stretches of games, oftentimes in the fourth quarter. And then even though they're defending well at times, it is not translating to fourth quarter stops as teams get comfortable, especially good offense. Look, there's no trades going on right now. NBA trades don't really happen until at least the middle of December. So I think Tom Thibodeau is going to have to figure this out on his own. The biggest help that could be coming is in the form of Precious Achiuwa. We have to hope that he's back within maybe the next 5-7 days or so. And if he comes in, maybe you play him a little bit with Karl-Anthony Towns, and at the very least, you could give some of these starters a bit of a breather, because God knows they've been going overdraft.
And that's what leads me to my next question, because if there are not going to be any trades this early in the season, then fatigue has to be setting in early. 9 games into the season, 5 guys logged 36 minutes or more in that Sunday night loss. Now, what worries you more? Key guys logging in all these minutes, and we're only in November, or the 4-5 start to the season?
I think they're connected. I don't think you can separate those two things, because if you look at the games that they've lost, right, they were up. I mean, they were up by 2 last night going into the fourth quarter, but they were up by 10 in the third quarter of that game. This team had a 5-point lead against Atlanta with 2.5 minutes left. This team had a 13-point lead against Cleveland in the third quarter. Cleveland's undefeated now. Even Houston, they were trailing that whole game, but that was a 1-point game midway through the fourth quarter. They have had opportunities to make big plays down the stretch of all of these games and take wins against all these teams, and they have not been able to do so. So I think that is why they are 4-5, and it's directly connected to maybe, these starters do not have enough left in the tank as they're coming down the stretch. So I would say moving forward, I do think that the minute load is an issue, but I don't think that they're that far off from fixing it. If you or from correcting the problem in that 34, 35, 36 minutes. You're okay. It's when you start getting up around 38, 39, 40, 41. That's when you're into problems, which is why, not to sound like a broken record, get Precious Achiuwa back in here, get Campaign back in here. He's been hurt as well. I think those couple of little things, not saying it's going to solve all the problems for the Knicks, but if it could just give these starters a little bit more of a rest throughout the first 3 quarters of the game, I think they might be able to have a little bit more and enough ultimately left in the tank to close out some of these tight games.
Well, real quick, because I have a follow-up question on that. If
Sure.
This is something that Tibbs has been called out for by NBA vets, by former players in the past.
Yep.
Why is this a thing right now? Why are we still talking about guys logging so many minutes and it's Veterans Day?
He's
Veterans
not
Day.
ever going. Yeah, no, he's not ever going to put anyone on the floor who he does not trust, specifically on the defensive end. You saw Tyler Kolek play 2 minutes last night. My colleague Benji Ritholtz put out a clip earlier today showing that Tyler Kolek botched a switch where he was supposed to switch on to TJ McConnell, and TJ McConnell ended up getting free and walking into the easiest short mid-range jumper that he's probably had all season. That one play is a sign to Tibbs that, hey, man, I like the rookie. The rookie could do a lot of things. He's not ready yet, And so I think because of the roster issues that this team had being so close to the second apron, and they have currently 3 rookies occupying regular roster spots. And you look at all the injuries to their bench. I just don't think the number of players is there. I'm a Tibbs apologist, but so take it with a grain of salt. I'll say this. He has gotten better over the last few years at going into his bench and trusting guys who are at least NBA veterans, guys who have had a little bit of time. I think it's a unique circumstance where you have basically just rookies on the bench. And when you put a rookie in a game against a good team that knows what they're doing, the warts tend to show up very quickly. So I think that's why you're still seeing it as an issue, even though this has been something that has dogged Tibbs throughout his entire career. Again, you have to hope that these couple of injured bench players get back sooner rather than later, and hopefully this is something that we don't have to talk about for too much longer.
All right, we're going to check back in on this very subject in January and again in March to see if this is still a problem, because it can't go down again this year. Jonathan, man, shout out the platform. Tell the people where they can find you, my man.
Absolutely, man. Knicks Film School is the name. You can get us really anywhere you get your content. YouTube, podcasts. We're on TikTok, Instagram. Obviously, we're still over on the Bird app, even though I don't think it's called that anymore. But yeah, anywhere you get your sports content, we are there. And if you're in the mood to read a little something, feel free to check me out on Substack, the Knicks Film School newsletter, putting those out at least 5 days a week, although I've been putting out some weekend newsletters as well. So appreciate the opportunity to come on as always, Brian.
All right, let us know when that next watch party is as well. I'll make sure I have a babysitter.
Will do.
All right, my man, take it easy.
Be well.